hourglass is not the only body type. Some of us need to wake up and smell the coffee. Is what I said in my last video, talking about you're not insecure, you're just not dressing for your body type. And now you've clicked this video hoping to find tips on how you can dress for your body type. I've got you, sis. I've noticed that sometimes we as women can feel really insecure about our bodies and the way we look. And sure, there's a lot of layers that comes with that, but sometimes we're dressing for what we have seen to be trendy or what we see as the mainstream body and wondering why we're not looking like those women because we don't have the same body type. I want to start this video by saying I'm not a professional. I'm just a woman who has through the years seen what works for my body and what does not work for my body, and just sharing those things with women who look like me. I will never encourage you not to wear something you want to wear. I'll just show you what I've seen works best and what doesn't, and the ones that don't work best, certain tweaks you can do to make it work for you. At the heart of it, I just want us to be comfortable, to feel confident, and appreciate and love the body that God has given us. So I would say my body type is in between an inverted triangle and a rectangle with some curves. Inverted triangle is characterized by broad or wide shoulders with small hips and a waist. In essence, with an inverted triangle, your shoulders or your upper body around here are the strongest or most potent part of your body type. And so I lean towards that inverted triangle because I do have broad shoulders. My shoulders are the longest part of my body. And though my hips are not small, it is smaller than my shoulders, if that makes sense. People with this body type tend to be quite athletic or just were born with strong upper bodies. And a rectangle is characterized by being quite straight, not having much curve. Your shoulders and your hips are of similar width, not much waist definition, and tend to have long legs. Now I lean towards this because my waist is not that defined anymore since giving birth to my wonderful gift from the Lord, and my shoulders and my hips are kind of a similar width, but mainly because of that little waist definition. Like the waist is there, but it's not as defined as an hourglass, which is characterized by having a very small waist and equal shoulders and hips. You don't really see my curves and the curve definition unless I stand to the side, and who lives like that? Am I just going to be waddling to the side? I know a lot of girls like me, when you were younger, your sixth form days or your secondary school, even uni days, flat belly, you didn't put on much weight, you just had this youth and this bounce to you. You didn't have to do too much to maintain your shape, and the hourglass sort of dresses, you were getting away with it. Now, as you got older, you realize that it doesn't really suit you the same way it did before. And for some of us, it's because we've added a little bit of weight to our midsection. Our weight does contribute to how our body type is, but it's much more than that. Your body type is also determined by your genetics, by your bone structure. I've always been quite big boned, and so I don't put on much weight on my arms. I've always had bigger wrists than the average woman, and I don't put on much weight on my legs either. Also, your fat to muscle distribution, as I said, contributes to your body type. Like if you tend to put on a lot of fat on your midsection, as opposed to on your legs or on your thighs, you may find that sometimes you look a little bit rectangular, or you have a body type where your top half, your torso, is bigger than your bottom half, and it definitely changes throughout the years. And I think it's just about navigating those changes, welcoming it, and walking with it. Now, you may not look like me, you may not have the same body type as I do, but throughout this video I'll still mention, with all the pieces that I talk about, what may work for another body type. So I'm going to be focusing on the best dresses for my body type, the best neckline for my body type, and the best trousers for my body type. So I'm going to be focusing on two types of dresses, and what I'm trying to get out mainly is the silhouette and make of the dresses that we should sort of lean towards for this type of body type. Now, this first dress is one of my favorite dresses I've ever owned. This is the Mango Cairo midi dress. Now, I don't know why it calls itself a midi dress. It's definitely maxi, but that is what it's called online. That's how you can find it. Unfortunately, it's actually out of stock. I was looking for it for a long time. It's one of those dresses that's just a staple. You can wear it every 2 years or every 1 year. It is characterized by being a slip-on dress, something that you could just put on quite easily, take off quite easily. It has this cowl neckline, which is basically a round neckline with a little bit of a gathering that adds some type of something going on, some type of depth. It's also sleeveless, it's flowy, and it has this stitching going across the body. If you're someone who has broad shoulders, you may feel like you need to stay away from sleeveless dresses, and that was me at one point. As I mentioned in my other video, my mum really helped me embrace my shoulders. Part of that was buying me tops and dresses that expose my shoulders, and over time I've noticed what works well and what doesn't. For this mango dress, it has thick straps, so it's not thin, it's quite thick, and so it works well with having broad shoulders because it kind of balances it out, kind of cancels out the broad shoulderedness of it all, because you have straps that are literally broad just like the shoulders, if that makes sense. Also with the cowl neckline, there's a little bit of a scoop depth created. In essence, it shows just enough of your chest that it takes attention away from your shoulders and brings it to your center. So again, it kind of makes you look more balanced. When you look at it with your eye, in your mind, the proportions just make sense. It's like having a ruler and it starts off straight and then it goes inward like this, and you're like, oh, this is a bit off. I'm gonna use the word balance a lot. I'm gonna use the word compliment a lot. I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that God has not created us in a balanced way. God has created our bodies and it's beautiful and good because he made it. I'm not saying that we should go and change our bodies or use clothes to change our bodies. That's not the point. The point is about knowing how to dress in a way that complements your body type. It's not to hide your body type or to take away from your body type. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about necklines later. Now with this dress and the material, it's that slip-on, slip-off dress, very effortless. It doesn't really stick to your body, it's flowy and it has movement. As someone who is tall, rectangular, and I've added a little bit of weight on my belly since having my beautiful gift from the Lord, or your waist is not as defined, this is perfect. It takes attention away from the midsection, and because it is flowy, it adds movement down below, it adds volume down below, and it kind of just makes it look like you have some curve. It also causes balance with your shoulders and your bottom half because of the movement caused. It makes it look like your width of the shoulders and the width of your dress is the same. And lastly, with the stitching across the dress, it has this sort of like diagonal stitching across the dress. It sort of adds curves and a little bit of dimension to your body, like something's going on, which accentuates your curves in a lovely way, and it just again adds balance. You typically find a lot of these slip-on dresses in satin material or things such as that. This is a polyester material, and I think this sort of material is better than the satin sort of dresses. It depends on the color that you get, but sometimes I feel like it brings attention to maybe places you don't want to have attention. But there's something about this polyester material, well, this particular dress, it's not shiny, it just is very effortless. This sort of dress will work well honestly for any body type. I'm yet to see a body type that doesn't work with these slip-on dresses. The second and last dress that we're going to look at is this pretty little thing, tall red frill textured maxi dress. Now, kind of similar to the last one in that it has a flowy sort of bottom, but the difference with this is this dress has spaghetti straps. Now, if you're a real broad shoulder babe or you just don't like your upper body, you know that spaghetti straps is like our worst nightmare. The issue with spaghetti straps is because it's so small, it draws attention to the broad shoulders and it just makes your shoulders look wider. A way to style spaghetti straps for broad shoulders is putting your hair down or doing a hairstyle that has volume. So here's a dress I wore that is spaghetti straps, but it has a sort of bikini sort of neckline, and I had a puff. So you can see that with the volume, it kind of takes away attention from the fact that, you know, I'm wearing spaghetti straps and my shoulders are on show. It just kind of balances it out really nicely. And again, with this dress, I wear it with my hair down, not to hide my shoulders because my shoulders weren't hidden, but to sort of just add some type of balance and kind of like keep the attention all in the right place. So I'm not shining attention on one part of my body, but I'm kind of balancing it out. As a rectangle, or again, someone who's added a little bit of weight to your midsection, the texture and the frill across the dress is perfect. It adds curves, it adds dimension, it just adds this little accentuates your curves if you've got them already. It sort of adds a little bit more curves. It's just perfect. It also takes away attention from your midsection as well. And honestly, I feel like tall dresses or maxi dresses work better for tall ladies. I feel like the midi dress can sometimes feel a bit awkward. Again, it's how you style it. Now, this sort of dress will work well for most body types, if not all. And again, if you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable about your midsection, this texture and the layering throughout the dress hides it perfectly, takes less attention from it, and just flatters it in a nice way. Moving on to neckline. Now, as a tall, broad shoulder babe, or your chest area, like I said, is quite strong, you may feel like there's a lot of necklines that don't feel that flattering. And the thing about having broad shoulders or a strong upper body, it can look not feminine. Obviously, as you get older, you see a lot of women that look like you, and you realize that having a strong upper body, it is feminine. It is something that women have, and it's normal. I mean, I think because a lot of clothing is for maybe for the typical woman, we don't see clothing that works for this sort of upper body. So necklines that I've seen work really well for myself and women who look like me are ones that bring attention to the center of the chest and take it away from the shoulders. So that looks like the V-neck, the scoop neck, a square neck. Instead of having the attention upward, it brings it downward, and it just creates a sort of balance. With a square neckline, it adds structure. You know, as someone who has broad shoulders, your shoulders are already quite structured. The square neck balances out that structure. It adds structure as well, so it kind of like makes sense for what you've got going on. And I love a square neck. When I'm getting like those vests, I lean towards the square necks because it just follows the structure that you've already got going on with your shoulders. Now, like I said before, our shoulders are quite structured, and in some ways, because it's strong, it leans towards the masculine side. And I say it like this because it's very much feminine to have strong shoulders, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so there's certain necklines that sort of soften our shoulders, soften this sort of area because it's very structured. Sometimes the softening through different necklines makes you look a little bit more feminine. Look, all of this is like this, but you know what I'm trying to say. If you're a girl who has broad shoulders, you know what I mean. But with certain necklines, it helps to soften and relax this area. That would be a sweetheart neckline or even a cow neckline, like I said before with the mango dress. I don't know what the science is to it, but it just works. Some necklines that aren't as flattering is the boat necklines, certain round necklines, stuff that have a very wide scoop, even certain off shoulders, or even certain one shoulder sort of necklines. Like, as you can see, I'm wearing this is it asymmetrical? And with these sort of necklines, what I tend to do is do my hair in a certain way or wear certain accessories that balances everything out. So as you can see, I've got my hair down and it's kind of covering this area, and then I've got some statement earrings, and it just adds balance. It kind of keeps the attention not so much on my shoulders, but just kind of everywhere. Now, I love my shoulders, there's nothing wrong with my shoulders, I just know what works for it. For example, if you look now, in another day I might put my hair back, but you can see what I mean when my hair is back and with this sort of neckline and what it looks like. A lot of attention is on my shoulders. It's not that it's bad because these are my shoulders, it's just not as balanced. A lot of attention is on one place. So an example is like if you're wearing a shirt, just opening the buttons just a little bit, because when you're wearing a shirt or a shirt with buttons, and like I said, I might still do this, but when you button it up to the top, you just look very like this. That's the best way I could explain it, like this. But when you open it up, it softens it a little bit, it balances out a little bit, and again, it brings the attention here. And again, if you have a top that you really like, but you feel like it's not flattering your shoulders, putting your hair down, wearing some accessories, it just helps to take the attention in the right places. And last but not least, trousers / jeans. Now, over the years, we have all slapped on a high-waisted skinny jean. Now, obviously, a lot of us, if not all of us, has moved from skinny jeans to straight jeans, so we already know that that wasn't as flattering. But skinny jeans definitely has its place, and sometimes it has its day. So we already know that straight jeans with a bit more volume, tend to look nicer on pretty much most people's body types. Now, what I'm going to focus more so is on where the jeans sits or where the trousers sit. Now, if you go on Google, it will say that high-waisted jeans is good for rectangular body types because it acts like you have a waist or a more defined waist. In my opinion, as I've gone through life, I've noticed that a mid-waist is just perfect. In my joggers, in my jeans, in my trousers, in my cargos, that mid, I feel like it's timeless, because there's times where you want to put on a high waist but your midsection is a little bit bigger, your belly's a little bit bigger, and it just looks like your trouser is digging into you. It doesn't feel as comfortable. There's times where it works, but I find that the midsection, especially as a tall girl, if you're shorter it may be different, but as a tall girl I find that the midsection just sits perfectly. I feel like it's more comfortable, and in my opinion it just makes you look more relaxed. Like sometimes it isn't always about making you look like you have a defined waist, making it look like you have curves. Sometimes it's about making you look like you are comfortable and you feel fine, you know what I mean, and the clothes are not swallowing you. You are dealing with the clothes. Sometimes that's all it's about. The other aspect will be tailoring your waist. It will always make you look nicer, more comfortable, and like it was made for your body. That's what I did with these pair of jeans. I think these are high-waisted, but I make them sit a little bit more mid-waist because I prefer it like that. If you've got short legs and you've got a short torso, a high waist just wouldn't really make sense. It isn't as flattering. You might have to opt for a mid-waist to sort of help balance you out more. I feel like there are people that can get away with high-waisted jeans. If not all of us, yes, but I feel like as a tall babe, the midsection, the mid-waist jean works perfectly. So those are my few tips for dressing for your body type. I hope you guys can take something from it. At the end of the day, the best teacher in this area is experience. Try on that dress, try on that jean, try on that top. Look at how you feel. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like it's flattering you well? If you need a second opinion, ask a friend, and then go from there. All of these things are things I've learned along the way and still learning. And if there is something specific that you'd like me to talk on, then please leave a comment down in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in another video.